Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to PhotoBiz Live. This is Joanne from the PhotoBiz team, and today we're joined by Jeff for a webinar about making selling online easy. With this webinar, you'll learn just how easy it is to sell anything online with the PhotoBiz Store. Jeff will show you how to set up the perfect buying experience for your customers. Plus, now with Point of Sale added to the PhotoBiz ToGo app, it's easier than ever. In addition to getting the opportunity to learn from Jeff in today's webinar, we'll also have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar. You may submit your questions using the chat tool, and they'll be answered after the presentation. You can also join in the discussion on Twitter, if you like, by using the hashtag #PhotoBizLive. If at any point during today's webinar you have any difficulty hearing Jeff or seeing the slides, please use the comment box and let us know. We'll also be recording the webinar, and it'll be available for replay on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/photobiz. With that being said, I'll turn things over to Jeff.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining me this afternoon to talk a little bit about selling online and how easy it is utilizing the PhotoBiz Store. If you haven't had an opportunity to participate in some of the other webinars that I've done on the store, this will be somewhat of a review in a sense. I may not necessarily go as far into the rabbit hole as most would probably prefer. And what I would say to that would be to contact us, because if there's a specific item or a business model that you're looking at implementing within the store, I think it's a lot more conducive to actually have a live discussion with us or with a web consultant to talk about what it is that you want to make available for sale, and based on our experience, what we feel would be the best setup so that you can ensure success for that end user, your client, and or customer to actually get through that buying experience or process. So Joanne already covered some of the housekeeping rules for today's webinar. Of course, we'll take our questions at the end of the webinar. You can feature those through the chat. So we'll be paying attention to those, but again, we won't actually be responding to those until the end of the actual call. Again, if you're going to be participating via the live chat for Twitter, you're going to use the hashtag and then PhotoBizLive. And then, of course, you can return into any of the other recordings, in addition to this one, at our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/PhotoBiz. So today we'll be covering the following items. Selling online is as easy as 1, 2, 3. And I do mean that literally. I think in some cases the process of setting up items for sale on the store can be a bit complex and a little intimidating when you initially look at the control panel, because it is quite formidable and there are a lot of different options there, some of which you'll use, and then in other cases you may not necessarily. But again, I always highly recommend giving us a call to get through that process. The common items that are set up within the store, at least with photographers, are of course your prints, your products, and your packages. So those are going to be your 8x10s and your 11x14s, as well as products like albums or framed pictures. And then your packages are going to be those that basically combine maybe your prints and your products together. Maybe you have a combination of different prints that are available at a certain price point, and that clients basically have to satisfy the criteria within that particular package in order to complete the purchase. Registrations is also something that we're going to go over. There's a couple of different ways that you can use it. So if you're not necessarily offering workshops, you can use registrations as a means of getting folks to complete the purchase for a session where you can actually have specific information provided to you by way of that potential client and or customer for that particular session. And again, using the registration form is a good way to do that. We'll also talk a little bit about discounts and campaigns, and then of course we'll close it out with the PhotoBiz ToGo and the Point of Sale app, which is really great. So if you haven't had an opportunity to download that from either the iTunes or the Google Play Store, I highly recommend doing so, particularly if you have the store. And I also know that there are many attendees that typically attend the webinar for the store, as I've had in the past, that don't necessarily have the store. So again, if you have questions about functionality of the store, you can certainly pose those at the end of the webinar, or you can certainly contact us at the toll-free number, 866-463-7620. So the keys to selling online, I think these are kind of par for the course. They kind of go without saying, but one of the things that I often mentor clients on is that when you're selling online, the best means for success is to keep it simple. And my mantra has always been less is more. I think the less that people have to basically sift through in order to make that final purchase, the easier it is for them to have a successful transaction, resulting in them obtaining whatever it is that you're making available to them online in one fell easy swoop. So whether that's one step, the idea really being is that you don't necessarily want a transaction to go much more than 3 or 4 clicks before they actually get to the point that they're actually securing that particular purchase with either their credit card or whatever it is that you've set up as far as the merchant option is concerned. So make it simple and make it intuitive. Sometimes what we find when clients contact us to begin setting up the store, they have a very complex idea of how this particular product or packages in particular are going to play out online. And I think that's probably more in lieu of what the natural state of the experience for purchasing that particular item is. So it may be something that in the studio is sold one particular way, and that there may be some challenges with trying to determine how best to set something like that up on the store. To that point, what I will say is that not everything conveys over onto the store. So there are some opportunities that are probably best suited for in-studio sales as opposed to setting them up online. And it goes back again to the aspects of less is more and keeping it simple so that, again, the transaction that you're creating for your clients will end up being successful. So the end result, hopefully, is by making it simple and making it intuitive, you give your client the prime opportunity to say, yes, I love what it is that you have available, and I do want to take advantage of that. So what should you consider when you're talking about the store as a particular product or platform for your business? Obviously, you want to determine is what it is that you want to sell. And I think what I mean by that, excuse me, in the literal sense is, what is it that you want to make available for sale, and how many different iterations or nuances or options are available with that particular product? Again, I think simple is best. So I think if you start from the baseline of that particular product offering and then thinking in line of, kind of that 3-4 click mantra to determine, well, how far into the rabbit hole do I want my clients to go in order to be able to successfully procure whatever it is that I'm making for sale? So that's also helpful for us as web consultants when we're working with you to understand what it is from a baseline perspective that it is that you're offering. And then, like I said, we can talk a bit more extensively about what it is that you want to make available. The reason why that's helpful for us as well as for you is it's an opportunity for us to mentor you through some of the different options that are available within the store. So we can kind of advise you based on that baseline product offering what the best way to initially set up the product is. And then as we start exploring some of the different options, we may consider that it may be set up a different way. In some cases, we've seen that some products are set up as packages and some packages are set up as products, just based on what you want the overall user experience to be, and again, making it easy for them to understand how to get through the process, and of course, making it easy for them to navigate through the actual purchase to get to that end result where they actually have a receipt in their hand. So your options for selling within the store include products, as well as prints and packages. Our services are another option that you have within the store, as well as registrations. Now again, some of these can take on the look of others, like registrations, for example, can be used as a service or a session. So sessions is also another item that can be made available for purchase within the store. So if you're a photographer and you want to provide your clients the ability to purchase their session or secure their session fees prior to the actual shoot, then you can make that available on the store. The benefit that you have with that is you're leading them to the actual source where they're going to view their prints and also complete their online ordering. So it's a great way to reinforce the value of that online e-commerce solution that you have. And it allows them to become more and more familiar with that application, so that if it's a family and your baby doing the newborn prints or the newborn session, you may in the future have the opportunity to do the senior session and then the family session and then ultimately the wedding session, hopefully. But again, some of these products are what we're going to be, or some of these options are what we're going to be covering today during the webinar. So these, again, are some of the options that you have available to sell within the store. So one of the first ones that I wanted to cover were the photography products. I think with our name being PhotoBiz, it's probably more commonly associated that the store, there's this conception or misconception that the store is only available for photographers. And we've broadened the scope of what it is that the actual storefront can do so that can encompass non-photography based businesses, and we've actually created a biz or a content site around the store site to give people that e-commerce, full encompassing e-commerce solution for them to sell, even if they're not photographers. But I wanted to show you some of the examples available for products. I'm using Blair Phillips as an example to show you some of the products that he makes available, which in turn you can make available within your store site as well. This is a photo album, so it's kind of in keeping with photography, of course. Again, we're talking about a very simplistic approach to the description of the product. And of course, with the description, you also have an opportunity to showcase visually what it is that that client is going to be purchasing. A lot of times, particularly if it's high dollar items, that high touch scenario of people wanting to actually put their hands on it, I think are a valuable tool that you want to ensure are infused within whatever it is that you're making available for purchase. So the store does provide you the opportunity to be able to marry up an image along with the description. The description, I think, is really important because what you're doing here is you're setting the expectation of what it is that the client's actually going to receive in the mail or through shipment, as far as what it is that they purchased online. So do your best to be minimal as far as the information that you provide, but descriptive so that people have a baseline understanding of what it is that they're buying and what options that they have available to them. The other thing that I also wanted to note with this particular product offering is that the store does take that secondary aspect of defining more of a visual for your clients based on any options that may be attributed to that particular product. So again, you're establishing a baseline product, but you may have different amenities or options that you want to make available with that product. When you select from the drop-down list here, you'll see that there's an option for an additional option or feature or amenity that clients can take advantage of. What our system will do is it will allow you to add an image for that particular option. So if you wanted to show these albums in different colors, maybe you could have an option called color and then enable basically the different color options that you'll have within it. And when you select those actual options, it'll give you the opportunity to upload an image to marry up to that color. So what will happen then is you're truly managing the expectation of the online experience for your client and or customer, because when they select the option from that drop-down list, it will change the screen or the image that's displayed dynamically. So they'll actually be able to see what it is that you're making available to them. Okay. But again, this is just an example of a product for a photographer. Other products that are used, these are the non-photography based. So this is one client that I'm working with in Los Angeles. Thank you, Elizabeth. Where you can see that this client is not selling photography. They're actually selling home and garden implements. So I think that this is another great opportunity for those of you that are non-photography based entities or businesses to be able to utilize the store. There's great value behind it because, again, I think similar to what we saw on Blair's site, you have a great opportunity to showcase whatever it is that you have available for sale. And like I said, if the options are minimal to extensive, you can also provide that information to them during their online shopping experience. So again, I just wanted to give you a visual representation of another type of product that falls outside of the photography scenario. When you're talking about prints and packages, we're going back to the photography business model. The store provides your client and or customer a password-protected gallery. So in other words, when you actually complete the shoot, you'd advise your client of those images being available within a password-protected gallery. Those images are protected, so your intellectual property is safe. They can't right-click and they can't drag and drop those images outside of the gallery, so they are protected. You can choose to utilize the watermark that's within the system itself, or you can upload your own custom watermark that would appear based on the opacity that you set. But what I wanted to show you here was some of the different options that you have available. So once your client successfully logs into their event, they'll be presented with a welcome message. And then when they click on a particular image, it's going to show them the first screenshot that you see on the left-hand side, which is the buy panel. So they have two options while they're actually in the store with their online purchasing. And again, this is more related to event photography, is that they have the option to designate which images are their favorites. So for some, that's particularly helpful because if there's more than, I don't know, 50, 100, 300 images, it may be difficult for them to determine, well, I want this specific image for this specific print size. What they may in turn do is go and create a series of favorites and then from there determine what it is that they want to marry that particular image up with, whether it's going to be a print, a product, or a package. But what I wanted to show you was the buy panel, and the buy panel is what's seen first and foremost. So again, if you're photography based, this is what your clients are going to initially see when they click on the buy panel. And then other items basically list your products, your packages, and your services, including registrations. So what they'll see initially will be your prints. And you can see here from the model that we have, we've basically gone through and we've put in, you know, the entire business model for this particular client, which is me. So this gives your client an opportunity to see at a snapshot level what it is that you're making available as far as your prints are concerned. And again, you're managing the expectation by advising them you can have this size print for this particular unit cost. And then over on your right-hand side is what's referred to as our packages. So our packages can basically be as minimal or as extensive as you want. Just based on our experience with working with other clients, you want to be mindful again that, you know, people actually have to get through the process of marrying up images to specific criteria within that package. So if the package is extensive, you're talking about an elongated online experience which you run the risk of a client maybe timing out or their browser not staying online or crashing. So I was working with a client this past week who had a package that had over 60 images associated with it. Now, the challenge with that particular package is, although it may be highly successful, it may be pretty difficult for a user to get through selecting 60 images to satisfy the criteria within a particular package. So again, less is more, but again, when you're working with a complex package, just give us a call so that we can have the opportunity to talk through the scenarios or the steps that you can utilize in order to make it intuitive for your client. So I wanted to talk a little bit about services in relation to session fees in this particular instance, but services could also be made available for other entities that are non-photography based. I was working with a company that offers high-end luxury car sales, and one of the services that they provide are tune-ups. And their site isn't finished, which is why I wasn't able to provide as an example here, but that could be an example of a service outside of your portrait services. But what I wanted to show here was how a registration form could actually be used for your service/session fees. So what I've done here again is try and provide a business model or a scenario of less is more. So here's an opportunity where I'm promoting a summer portrait session. Again, I'm trying to manage the expectation of the client, that potential client and or customer, of what it is that they'll receive by way of selecting or choosing this particular session, what the costs are. But I also want clients to be aware of how many different seats are available with this particular session. Now, this is particularly helpful because I think what you'll see on the next screen will be a little more forthcoming. A lot of times what you want is to build a sense of urgency behind anything it is that you make available for sale. So if you can get people to strike while the iron's hot, all the better. So I think that by putting a limit, particularly on this portrait session, kind of builds a sense of urgency behind it. It almost dictates that because there's only so many hours in the day that you're going to be shooting anyway. So it's not like you're going to be offering the span of 24 hours available for a particular session. So again, this is just an example of how you can make a session available via the registration form. So when you click on the register option, this is basically what the registration form looks like. Now again, what I'm doing is I'm actually purchasing a session. So this could be deemed a service, this could be deemed a session, it could be deemed a registration. Again, we're basically using an opportunity to model a particular aspect of business within one of many different forms. So this again is an example of using a registration form as a service or a session. So you can see that you'll have first name, last name, email, phone number, any special information that you may need from the client, if they need bottled water or if they have a child with special needs or something to that effect. You have an opportunity to garner or gather some additional information. I also added an opportunity for the client to tell me specifically what session they're interested in. And I'm also telling them how many seats are available for that session. Now, you'll have to forgive me, these don't necessarily marry up with the previous screen, but I wanted you to get an idea of what the detail would actually look like on the registration side. So I'm also managing the expectation by putting in my contractual information. So I'm putting all of my reps and warranties out there up front so that there are no surprises, and I'm actually giving them an opportunity to execute that agreement at the same time. So you really are completing essentially all the administrative work prior to the shoot. So not only are you securing that particular client for their session, you actually have a date and a time designated. They're actually going to be paying for it, providing you any special instructions, and then you've actually got the consent agreement signed or executed at the time of purchase. So all of that is handled up front, which again, less is more, but again, you're making it intuitive and fairly easy for your client to say yes because there's nothing being hidden. Everything is sort of forthcoming and revealed immediately at the time that they're going to register or purchase this particular session. Another opportunity that you have within the PhotoBiz store is for services to include workshops. Now, this again is our friends from Floral Art who are still working on their site, but they offer, as well as many other clients of PhotoBiz that are now offering registrations, which has now become vastly more popular, I think, now that people are more aware of what the registration forms can do. And we've had some suggestions from a large portion of the client base that are actively using registrations. So part of what we want to continue doing, like with any and all of our products, is to continue to build upon the success of what's already there, in addition to anything additional that you would like to see. Now that can be facilitated through one of the web consultants. It can also be captured by way of a support ticket if you send it in to us. The idea really being is you basically set the tone for the products that we develop. So we appreciate your feedback and your input as far as anything that you would like to see implemented along with these particular products, because we're always trying to improve them. So we have had some suggestions on, some things that we can do a little differently for registrations, particularly when you're talking about bulk sales. So for registrations, I know, having done event planning in my past life, that you want more people to register for a particular workshop or session. The more the better, because the lower the cost is for the overall event in and of itself. So the idea here really is that when working with the client, Floral Art, they wanted to create some incentives for people to be able to bring friends. And I think that that's really important. So again, you're talking about a baseline opportunity of I'm offering a workshop and you allowing us to brainstorm with you to determine, well, what kind of incentives are you establishing with this workshop? Are you providing any type of incentives for people to be able to bring a friend or friends that may have a liked interest in this particular workshop? And are you presenting an incentive for them to do so? Your clients are the best marketing tool that you have, apart from advertising, of course. Word of mouth is a great thing. And if you can get a client to bring a friend, to take advantage of something that you have available, all the more better for that particular 2 clients that get through the process successfully to actually refer other clients to your site. So one of the things that I wanted to show you is you can see down here where it says a series of 3 classes. You want to put up front what the actual cost savings will be, because I think people want to know the value of their investment, or what's my return on their investment. So anytime that you're offering any type of incentives, be forthcoming about the sales advantage of that, or the savings advantage of that, I should say. And then provide as much information as you can about those classes, which Elizabeth and her team have done on here on the right-hand side. So I wanted to show you what the control panel looks like from the standpoint of setting up workshops. So workshops are, again, they're part of the registration feature. They can be deemed a service. I wouldn't necessarily deem them a session, but I guess that you could. So the idea really here is that what you're doing is, again, you're managing the expectation by naming your workshop, of course, and then setting the expectation by way of the description, how many seats are going to be available, and what the expiration date of that particular workshop or event is going to be. Of course, whether you charge taxes or not. Now, you have the option within the store to set up multiple workshops, and you actually have the criteria to toggle whether these are going to be available or not at a particular time. So for some, when they're in the administrative portion of actually setting up these events, they may not have all of the criteria nailed down, like the speakers or the presenters or what have you, but at least you can come out and set up a lot of the baseline information and just not make it active at that point. Of course, all the other information is fairly intuitive. Digital download is another opportunity that you have. If there are class materials that are associated with that particular workshop, you may not want your attendees to have that actual information until they actually secure or complete the purchase. And that way you're not giving away, the cow and the farm all in one shot. You're basically having them go through the process of purchasing and then providing them the class outline or syllabus so that they have that available for their class attendance. And then, of course, shipping is probably not going to be applicable unless in the case that you're actually shipping materials to them. Then, of course, you can add an additional cost for that. And I have seen that used with a couple of other clients in their business models. So the next portion deals with, now that I've managed the expectation of putting forth all the information associated with this particular workshop, now there's certain criteria that you want to gather from that particular client and or customer. So you can see here, company name, first, last name, phone number, all that information is fairly intuitive. But I think you can even go a step further with that. You can find out how it is that they found out about your particular workshop. So again, if it's marketing and knowing what your return on investment is, go ahead and put some tools in place that are going to help you determine that. So if there's a way for you to find out whether they were referred by a friend, or if they saw you through some type of periodical, or if there was some type of incentive in a magazine or something like that, provide the opportunity for them to find out how it is that they found your particular class or your particular workshop, or how they found out about you. It may be a great opportunity for you to establish incentives. So maybe for those returning clients or those frequent clients that you have, maybe you start a referral program similar to what PhotoBiz has, where if you refer a client to PhotoBiz and they establish an account and they stay on the account for 60 days, you get a $20 virtual credit. They just have to refer to you as the business at the time that they actually sign up or establish their account. So similar premise, take advantage of the opportunity to promote yourself, but have other people promote you too, but find out what those promoting tools are and how successful they're working for you. All right, some of the other tools for selling are related to some of the incentives. So again, when you're talking about cost savings, everybody's looking for an opportunity to save a little money. So the idea really being is that what are you doing in order to create a means for people to say yes immediately? And an opportunity for doing that is creating campaigns and coupons. Everybody loves coupons. I use them frequently, and I think any and everybody that has the opportunity to take advantage of a coupon does. So That's not necessarily saying that if you don't offer a product with a coupon that it wouldn't be successful. I'm just saying that there's a greater opportunity for success, particularly if it's something that you're heavily trying to push. Maybe it's not been as popular and you create some incentives behind it. So the two common components for creating cost savings are campaigns, which are basically targeted percentage discounts. So they're designated for a specific item or items, and that they basically appear on the store as a selling point. So you can actually see the regular price, and through that regular price you can actually see a strike through, and then you'll actually see the sale price. Now the cool thing about the campaigns is that particular sale price is only going to be as valid as long as that sale is in effect. So there's really no means of alerting clients that, this particular item is only going to be on sale for this period, but it does establish that sense of urgency, which is anytime anything goes on sale, that usually means two things. One is there's not a whole lot of it, and two is you have to strike while the iron's hot. So it's not going to remain on sale for an eternity. You're going to have to take advantage of this as soon as it's made available. For coupons, you're talking about a percentage discount, a buy one, get one free, or buy one and get some amount off of the actual total purchase of everything that you provide, or of everything that you provide available for purchase. Basically, it works by way of a coupon code. So unlike campaigns are already established within the store. There isn't something that someone has to put in order to take advantage of a campaign that's actually running or a sale that's running on the particular store. They'll actually see the item for sale with a strike through with it, with the actual sale price being promoted, as opposed to a coupon where they actually don't see the cost savings until they put in that coupon or promo code in order to take advantage of that discounted price, or to get so much off, or to buy one item and get another item free. So I wanted to show you the back end of the coupons and campaigns. So we're in the control panel for the store, and we are clicking on the icon for discounts, and you'll see that the two options, of course, are coupons and then campaigns. So this is the screenshot for coupons. So you have a vast array of different options that you can make available to yourself or to your clients when you're setting up your coupons. So we've made it quite extensive in the sense that we've made it so that, all of the typical business scenarios that we know of where you're making a sale item or you're making something available for a discount could be encompassed in one of these 9 options. There could be other scenarios. Again, we take the feedback from you as our clients to tell us, what the marketplace dictates. So I think these 9 items pretty much account for, pretty much any scenario that you can come up with as far as percentage discounts, dollar, and then, of course, buy one, get one free. These, again, are coupons. And when you're establishing your coupon, again, it's going to be based on a promo code. So you're going to have to provide your client and or customer this promo code, unless it's something that you make available on the website. I've seen some cases where that's been true, but not that often. So more oftentimes than not, it's going to be something that you're going to actually provide to your clients. So the information here, I think it's fairly self-explanatory. Discount code can be anything that you want. It's alphanumeric, so you can basically put in alpha elements or numeric elements or a combination of the two. A description of the coupon code, which is really more for your purposes. I guess it's really more administrative than anything else. The begin and end date for that particular coupon, because again, you're not going to allow or provide the means for that particular item to be on sale forever. So you do want to build a sense of urgency behind it. The number of uses that can be attributed to that particular coupon, and what the discount amount is going to be. The other great feature with this particular coupon is you're able to designate a minimum and a maximum order amount. So you're also creating a means that you're actually going to be able to break even or make a profit, because you're not going to present an opportunity where you're selling something for $1 and they're able to get 50% off of that if what your minimum is that they have to spend $5 or $10 or what have you. So the idea really is that you want to create a means of a business model that's going to be successful for you. So having the minimum and the maximum order price there kind of helps you set the criteria that whatever it is that you're making available, you should still have some good return on your investment with that. Now, campaigns are a little different. So campaigns, unlike the coupons, do not require a promo code. These are basically established by way of criteria that you associate with this particular event. And I call it event, but I guess it's a campaign. So similar to the coupons, the campaign name is really going to be more for your benefit. It's really more administrative than anything else, along with the description. The begin date and the end date, of course, are pretty self-explanatory, and then the actual discount amount. And so here's where the campaign takes on its own uniqueness as opposed to the coupons, and that is when you go and choose the items that you want to associate with the campaign. So you can designate whether you want this campaign and this discount to be associated with any and every item that you have within the store, or if you have items that are in a specific category, or you can take it even one step further. If they're in a specific category, but you want specific items associated within that particular category. So in my example, I used registrations as what I was going to make available for discount. So I wanted to make it such that these workshops or these sessions would be more appealing, and basically these would serve as like an early bird special. So again, if you're going back to a workshop business model, again, trying to create that sense of urgency and cost savings on the front end, maybe you create an early bird special for people to be able to take advantage of. But you only want it to be specific to a couple of different items. Maybe you have a one-day workshop versus a multi-day workshop that you only want to provide that incentive for. So here's how you set the criteria for that. If you were to choose any item or items in a specific category and you chose, registrations, then of course it would apply to all the ones in that particular category. Here you're able to designate specifically what it is that you want affected by that particular discount. And so what I wanted to show you was how that plays out on the actual system. So now that I've established that campaign, again, there's no promo code here. So a promo code could be used in conjunction with this. So let me say that as well. When you're actually going through the purchasing process, you could attribute a promo code to the back end of this. So as they're going through the actual purchasing process, they could have a promo code that they end up with before they actually secure their purchase. But in this case, what I wanted to show was the actual discounted price. So again, you see that the information is there about the particular session. I'm offering it now at a discount as opposed to when I was showing this to you before under registrations. So rather than it being a one-time fee of $250, it's now a one-time fee of $225, and that they're actually able to register at that point. So again, there's nothing for the client to have to do in order to take advantage of this cost savings other than to have the wherewithal to go ahead and buy within that particular time frame. Now you can, and I would assume that you would advertise that you'll be having an early bird special because there's no promo code. It's probably quite easy for people to be able to take advantage of that. And like I said, the idea being that once the campaign has ended, so once the end period of the campaign has been satisfied, then it's basically going to refer back to the regular price. The sale price will no longer be listed. And there's not anything that you have to do with that system-wise. The system will automatically take care of reverting back to the regular price. And that pretty much covers what I wanted to cover as far as the basics for the store, as far as prints, products, packages, services, and registrations are concerned. But I wanted to talk a little bit about a different option that we have, which is PhotoBiz ToGo. So for those of you that are using it, great. I hope that you found great success with it, and like I said, we'd appreciate any feedback as far as improvements to that particular application that you'd like to see enabled. It's a free download that's available for your mobile device, and basically what it does is it allows you to manage your store on your mobile device. So rather than having to log in through the control panel, there are components within the store that you can actually manage on the go. So the idea is that people probably don't have the wherewithal or the time necessarily to allot to, well, I'm going to wait and do this until I get back home. The opportunity probably never presents itself, at least not in an opportune moment. So the idea that you can actually take immediate action on something that hits you at the time that it hits you is really where the value of PhotoBiz ToGo comes into play. It does require you to download the free app, so there's no cost for at least downloading the app. There is a usage fee, which is $5 a month, to be able to download the particular app from either the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store. I have used it, so it's quite user-friendly as far as the download process goes. But the benefit that you have with it is now you can review things like orders on the store, or if you wanted to find out what a particular status of a particular item is, all of that information can be available to you on the go. The other would be updating payment statuses. So if you're providing people the opportunity to pay for a particular item with a check, and you've actually had the benefit of being able to run into that client or customer somewhere and they actually provide the check to you, you could actually now log into the PhotoBiz ToGo app and just basically update the pending status from pending to paid. You can also go in and view customer saved carts. Now this is probably more in the case of a client that actually creates an event for themselves and they haven't actually completed the purchase. So maybe they were alerted or advised of the image gallery being available to them that evening, and so that evening they may have selected some of their favorites. They're not ready to make a purchase because they want to share that particular gallery with the rest of the family before they make their final purchase, so they can actually save their cart. And then, like I said, what you can do is go in and view those actual favorites. So you can actually view client saved carts by way of the PhotoBiz ToGo app. So this is an example or a screenshot of what the actual PhotoBiz ToGo app looks like. Now this is a screenshot from an iPhone, but you can see it's a fairly simple and intuitive layout. So here we're looking at orders. Now these are orders that have been placed by, particular clients. So if you want to look up a particular order to see how many orders that you've gotten in a particular day, or if you wanted to see what the highest dollar amount is, or even if you were looking for a particular client, you could certainly use the search criteria here for your orders. In addition to your saved carts, which you can see down at the bottom, events is also something that you can manage through the PhotoBiz ToGo app. So if, for example, your client misses the expiration date of your event expiring or their event expiring, you can actually go back in and extend the expiration date of that particular event. But to that point, and I should raise this, that the store actually provides you the ability to build a fee associated with that as well. So what can happen is you can actually associate, rather than having to update the event here, you can actually set fee criteria within the store that says, if the event expires, I'm going to set criteria that says you can access your event again for a day for $25, for 3 days for $50 or whatever the dollar amount is going to be, and that they basically pay for all of that up front. So again, you're not necessarily having to go out here and change the event date, but you could actually incur or have some revenue generated from fees associated with people that are not timely about going out and viewing their images. Your coupons, of course, and your campaigns like we were just talking about is another opportunity where you can go in and manage these. So if you want to go in and edit, a particular coupon or a campaign that you've created because maybe you've thought about something additional that you'd like to do to that, you don't have to, again, log into the control panel. You can just use the PhotoBiz ToGo app to help with that process. The point of sale is the newest feature of the PhotoBiz ToGo app, and the point of sale is to basically sell your prints, products, and packages to go. So it basically furthers the benefit or the overall value of the PhotoBiz ToGo store, PhotoBiz ToGo app. It allows you to be able to collect payments from customers or clients when you're on location. You can set up new or custom items on the fly, so again, you're not necessarily having to wait until you have that administrative time within your day. You can actually set these things up right then and there when you actually come to mind. In addition to, and we talked a little bit about this in the previous slide, being able to look up customer information. So if you're looking to create an invoice for a client that you've worked with previously, you can basically look up their information without having to resort to your contact list within your phone. In addition to establishing taxes and merchants. Now, your merchants are going to be based on the 7 or 8 merchants that we have available within the store, and they range anywhere from, offline payment, which would be your check or studio delivery or whatever it is that you may want to label it, to your traditional credit card processors and kind of everything in between. So Google Checkout, Google Wallet, PayPal, iTransact, Authorize.net, all of those encompass some of the merchants that you're able to establish within the PhotoBiz store. You do have to work with the merchant providers that are allocated within the store. But if there are merchants that you are working with, we'd love to hear about those. I know Foursquare is one of those that clients have been raising as one of the ones that they'd like to see made available within the store, and that may happen sometime in the future, I don't know. But again, the merchants are a part of the payment process, so you have to establish a merchant in order for people to actually get through the purchasing process within the store. So again, I just wanted to show you what some of the screenshots associated with the point of sale look like. So again, this is still the PhotoBiz ToGo, and this app, like I said, will be continued to be built upon. So again, you have your general information. So point of sale, again, provides you the opportunity to set up something real quick in order for your clients to take advantage of or make immediately for sale. But you can also manage the store and the blog here. And the store and the blog share the same platform, which is why you can manage those two applications here. But in addition to that, if you have the account overall can be managed. So if you wanted to change your membership or, in either moving the membership up or down, you have your information here as far as my account. So you can go in, change your passwords, manage basically all the information that you would normally do on your desktop, whether that's your PC or your Mac, on the go, in addition to your taxes and your merchants, which we kind of talked about in the previous slide. And here again are just some general snapshots, and these basically depict creating an option for, excuse me, creating a point of sale for a particular print. So what I did here was just create a print for 4x6 at the cost of $1,000. And then some of the options that are associated with that. And again, this is something that I think it's fairly intuitive, but I do recommend, contacting the web consultants here to help you with the process, but answer any questions that you have about utilizing the PhotoBiz point of sale or the PhotoBiz ToGo app. Like I said, I think it's fairly intuitive. If you're a user of the store, please go out and take advantage of this opportunity. Again, I think it may help you streamline your business and free you up a bit more as far as your administrative time is concerned by allowing you to take advantage of things that you want to do immediately so that you don't necessarily create a list in order to do those things later. But I think it also furthers the value and the benefit of the store overall because now, like I said, you have a mobile app to be able to do all types of business. And again, these are just some additional screenshots for the point of sale. So that pretty much concludes my overview for the PhotoBiz store and how selling online is easy. Again, for those of you that have specific questions about things that you want to make available within the store, whether it's something that you are considering offering when you purchase the store, or if you're already a store holder and you just want to basically run through some scenarios with us, feel free to give us a call. I'm one of the support agents, so I'd love to talk to you about this, but like I said, there are some other great web consultants that you can work with as well if I'm not available. So we'll go ahead and launch into some of your questions here. One of the options, or one of the questions posed, was what kind of payments can clients use? The store provides a number of different options for your clients to pay with. I would say the most commonly used, at least during the initial setup of the store, is PayPal. And the reason why is because PayPal provides you the capability of your clients using their own PayPal account, which is tied to whatever account that they want, as well as pay with a credit card. I know, having been a victim of identity theft, how important it is, or how scary it can be putting in your credit card information with, an application that you may not necessarily be, comfortable or frequent that often. So for me, utilizing PayPal has been a great comfort to me, and that's what a lot of clients use initially when they're setting up the store. But you do have some more traditional credit card or merchant options. Google Checkout, or Google Wallet, I guess as they call it, is another option that you have. We have two credit card merchants that are probably the most commonly used, which are iTransact and Authorize.net. So iTransact.com and Authorize.net. iTransact actually provides special incentives for PhotoBiz clients specifically. And you'll find out what that rate information is, and we can email this information to you. So if you're not a store owner, you can always call customer support, and we can make that information available to you. I send it to clients all the time, just so you can actually do a comparative apples to apples or merchant to merchant, so that you can make the best decision possible as to who you're going to be in a relationship with. The most popular, again, is because of the incentive with iTransact. Authorize.net is also used quite frequently. The other great feature is, if you're already a store owner, you can actually go out and obtain contact information for these particular merchants by going into the store and actually selecting the merchant's option. So once you click on the icon for the store, you click on the icon for e-commerce, and then the sub-option merchants. When you select an option from the drop-down list apart from offline payment, once you basically select that option, then it will present to you all the different options or information related to that particular merchant. So hopefully, Katie, that answered your question. And it sounds like that it may have been a question that Chris had as well. So I hope that I've been able to answer that question with my previous answer. Let's see. So Google Checkout is with a credit card. I'm not sure. I'll have to check into that one. A lot of clients, I have to say honestly, don't use Google Checkout. I haven't actually worked with a client, honestly, that's used it. I know that it's something that's available, but I haven't worked with a client who has. So, Kate, what I can do is I can actually call you once we conclude the webinar, and I can find out for you. To be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question. And then it looks like Suzanne has left us, but I have a call for her. One of the questions that she posed was, of one of the examples that I presented was for the workshop for floral art, what type of page was I using for that introductory page? The store site does present the opportunity for you to add what's called site content to it. And what that does is it allows you to establish information that serves as a storefront or a landing page. And so it's another opportunity for you, again, to talk a little bit about your business, what it is that you make available. But more importantly, I think it also kind of helps pretty up the site. Not that the store is not pretty without it, but it does give you an opportunity to at least elaborate a bit more on what it is that you have available, or what it is that you're making available, and how to set the expectation as far as the online shopping experience for your client. So what she was using was a Marquee Plus page, basically to display the banner image at the top, along with the menu options, and then the information that would serve in the body or more down below that banner image. That looks like all of the questions that we had for today's session. Like I said, Kate, I will get back to you once we conclude the webinar. If you have any additional questions, two options, one of which would be to complete a support ticket, which I highly recommend. You can do that through the control panel. You can just click on support in the upper right-hand corner. There's an option or a page that comes up. You'll click on create support ticket. From there, be as descriptive as possible. Any information that you can provide to us is beneficial, particularly when we're talking about deriving a solution before we even pick up the phone to call you. So I would say in that instance, more is better, maybe than the scenario of less is more. So be as detailed as possible as you can with your questions or your request for assistance. The other way would be just to call us. It's a great opportunity for us to be able to provide you that passionate support that we talk about, because it's not a tagline. It's actually a culture here, and it's one that we practice commonly. So I hope that each of you have found some value behind today's webinar. Again, I'm Jeffrey. I'm the only Jeffrey in support, so if you choose to ask for me, I'd be happy to help out. But again, all the other web consultants here are really amazing, and I hope you'll give them the opportunity to assist you with either your current store site or the prospect of you purchasing the PhotoBiz store. So thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it, everybody.
Well, thank you, everybody, for the great questions, and thank you so much, Jeff, for taking the time to talk to us today about the PhotoBiz Store and PhotoBiz ToGo. We're about out of time, but I want to thank everybody, and a recording of today's webinar will be posted on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/photobiz. Be sure to check out our blog and watch your email for updates about future webinars. Our next webinar will be Destination Weddings Part 2 with Hiram Trio, and that'll be on Tuesday, July the 2nd. Thanks again, Jeff, and that concludes this episode of PhotoBiz Live. Have a great day, everyone.